Hey everybody, how are we doing today? Welcome to the second unit of exponents here. So we may have been refreshing from yesterday. We dealt with the zero power and we dealt with negative exponents. Today we're dealing with our next phase. This is chapter 7, section 2, multiplying exponents. All right, and this again, because it's algebra, we are dealing with exponents that are on variables. So we have to remember we introduced these yesterday. The rule is the base stays the same, add the exponents. Pretty easy. Whatever base you have, do they have like bases? Do they have like variables? Great. Add those exponents together if they're being multiplied. You're going to see, though, in our examples, they have more than just the same bases. They'll also have coefficients. So again, we are dealing with multiplication here. So multiplication, we just multiply coefficients. Coefficients are not variables. They are numbers. They're numbers that are telling us how many of this x to the third power do we have? We have 2. How many of this x to the second power do we have? We have 3. So the first thing I want to do, and I'm going to start this to the beginning examples. Maybe we'll change as we go. But I want to be as proper as we possibly can with these, okay? I need to make this pencil a little bit bigger. All right, so as we look at this, we need to start, let's do the coefficients first. We multiply our coefficients together. Notice, this is 2x to the third power. Then there's a set of parentheses. That means these are being multiplied here. There's a little multiplication going on, okay? So as we look at this, yes, we have to multiply those coefficients together first. So 2 times 3 is 6. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to write it out so we can actually fully see. Let's not assume that we know any of this, okay? So we're going to do 2 times 3. So 2 times 3. Then we're going to do 3x times 2x. I'm sorry, x to the third power times x to the second power. X to the third power times x to the second power. Great. So we just took this problem that was nice and technically organized, but now we broke it up into 2 parts that are easier for us to identify here. We have our coefficients being multiplied together, and then we have our exponents. So when coefficients get multiplied together, we simply just multiply them. 2 times 3 is 6. Then we have to apply our power rule. We have x to the third power times x to the second power. This is multiplication. So the base stays the same. And we're going to add the exponents. Add the exponents. And our exponent is 3 and 2. And now we can go ahead and finally simplify that. So you're going to have a 6x, and 3 plus 2 is 5. All right, so when we take this 2x to the third power times 3x to the second power, and we fully simplify it out, it transfers down here into one single term that is represented by one coefficient, one variable, and one exponent right here. This would be the final answer. We have 6x raised to the 5th power. All right, again, if you are going to type this into your computer, please make sure that you're typing a 6, then you're typing the x, then you type that button. It could be one of 2 buttons. You can do the shift, shift 6, and that'll bring the exponent button up here to type it in. Or there is a button on the console that will look like this. You'll type 6, a raised to the b power. So you would type the 6, then you type x, you hit this button, and you hit 5. That's when we're inputting them either into calculators or we're inputting them into our math, okay? This button here is the same as hitting Shift F6 or Shift 6, okay? Let's take a look at our next example. We're going to look at this example here. So we have a negative x times y, and that's all being multiplied by 4xy. Again, let's make sure first off, let's group our things together. We have a negative 1 times 4. Okay, we've taken care of our coefficients. And then we have an x times an x. We've taken care of our x variables. And we have a y times a y. Sometimes this one's a little harder for us because we don't see the exponents right away. Okay, I'm going to clean this 4 up because it shouldn't have a little tail. All right, so we have negative 1 times 4 times x times y times y. We've just reordered these, so it makes it easier for us to see. All right, so negative 1 times 4 is a negative 4. Then we have these variables here. So those variables are x. The rule says base stays the same. We want to add those exponents. Remember, there are invisible ones up here. So 1 plus 1 is 2. And I'm not going to assume that we know this. I'm going to actually write it out. 1 plus 1. Then our next variable is y. Again, we have the same thing going on, 1 and a 1. So 1 plus 1. Great. So now if we look, we have negative 4 times x to the 1 plus 1, y to the 1 plus 1. Let's do our final simplification. Well, 1 plus 1 is 2. And 1 plus 1 is 2. This would be our final answer. Not too bad. We multiply the coefficients, then we multiply our variables. And the variables, base stays the same, add those exponents together. Here we go here. When we look at this particular one, we are going to look at something that looks pretty interesting.